Hi everyone, welcome to DIY Ideas. Today I'll show you how you can do your own DIY laptop bag. So this one is out of felt, but I'll mention how you can do it out of other fabrics like cotton. It's super simple if you do end up using felt like I did, so I do recommend that. You just need the 2 stitches that we're gonna do, a stretchy band, so an elastic band of your choice, and some felt. So that's all you need. It's a super practical project, I think, for everyone who has a laptop. It's always great to have kind of a protecting layer around it when you're taking it with you. It's also a really cool gift as long as you know somebody's laptop size, but most of them are the same size, which makes it really cool. So you won't need any patterns for this, but you will need your laptop or the measurements of that laptop you're doing it for. Anyway, let's get started. Stay tuned. So all that you will need is some felt of your choice, best if it's a bit thicker, but you can of course use any other a little bit sturdier fabric that you want. I recommend sturdy because it's a lot easier to work with. So you see how thick this is, and that's exactly what you want. And yeah, you need any band that's a little bit stretchy, elastic band or any other type. I recommend something a little bit wider. So some thread then, matching thread, you will have the stitch visible, so make sure it matches your fabric so that it looks nice in the end, or at least matching but in a different color. Then some pins or anything else to serve that purpose. Those are going to be really helpful today. And of course your fabric scissors. So the prep is super simple, so I have it done here already. So take your laptop and your felt, and then put your laptop in the middle like this. So here I am, my laptop is in the middle, and I left a lot of room for the stitches, so about 2 inches or around 5 centimeters, so that you have enough room for everything. So some laptops are a little bit thicker, you see mine isn't, so I won't need a lot of room for it. But if you have a thicker laptop, just make sure that you leave a little bit more room than I do. So almost 10 centimeters or about 4 inches should be just fine as a nice width there. And then you won't have any trouble fitting it inside when you're done. Okay, so our next step is to see that our laptop fits completely inside. So we want one side folded over it like this. And take a look that it's about 2 to 3 centimeters or about an inch more than what the laptop is long or actually wide. So that's gonna be our covering piece. And then one more piece is gonna fold over that as well. So it's gonna be like a lid or a top section, or actually have a bag shape, so to speak. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the whole prep. So take your own laptop, measure, and try to fit it in what you have as your fabric, and then we can get started. So make sure you plan ahead and decide how you want the top section done, and looking in the end, the band we want a little bit wider than the width of the felt of our choice. So for example, in my case, I have about 30 centimeters of width, and I will take about 40 centimeters for my elastic band. So just make sure it's a little bit longer so that you can work with it easier, and it's easier to cut it short later than to make it longer when you already cut it. So the first step is that you put your laptop inside, so onto the fabric that stretches out, and then fold the first side over it and mark where you want this exact spot to be. So you can mark it on top where the laptop is, where it starts, or you can mark it on the bottom where the fold will be. Just make a little mark so that you can get started. Either way works. I'll take my laptop out so that it's easier to work with. I'll pin the 2 sides together so that it all stays in place. And you can cut this felt with your fabric scissors. Don't be intimidated by the width, it's just fine as it is. So yeah, that's it. And the reason I chose felt is that it doesn't fray at all, which makes this project super easy even if you're a complete beginner. So that's a really cool thing to know about felt. You don't really have to worry about anything fraying since that doesn't really happen with this type of fabric. So just take care that you're really neat and that you do a straight cut. The thickness can seem a bit tricky, but it's definitely something you can do. So yeah, make sure that's nice and neat, and then you have your cutting done already. Okay, so that's our first step. Put this nicely aligned together, then pin together, or you can even clip those together, and the rest is gonna stay as it is. So here it is now. You can see my pins in here. So now we will do a stitch on each of our sides, so left and right. But first we need the band, so our elastic band or any other that you like that can stretch, and then decide where you want that to be. So if your top section, for example, is super long and ends about here, then you want it on the bottom. So the band should be on the bottom. If your laptop section is shorter, then of course you can move it up. So yeah, align that as well, and then we can pin the ends to the corners as well, and feel free to leave some space or some length between the ends. So you see I'm pushing it kind of inside so that it stays between the two felt pieces. So it's a really cool trick to do. Then pin that, and you can do the same on the other side. Make sure it doesn't slip when you do the stitch, and then you can start just a regular straight stitch. So this time we're keeping it simple, top to bottom, and it's best if your stitch width is at about 2. Also make sure you secure the beginning and the end of your stitch, and do the same then on the other side, so on the left and the right. And then we will be done. So I did promise that it's super simple, and it is. So the first step is today the only step that we actually need to do. So here are my stitches, and my bag is done. You see the stitch a bit actually on the felt, not so much, but the band is showing it a bit. You could have also done this differently, so you could have done the gray thread on the gray section here and a black thread on the black section, but I think it would have made things a lot more complicated, and I actually really like it as it is. So anyway, my laptop fits in here super nicely, and I can fold this and push it under the band to close it. So felt is a bit weird when you start using it, so if it's new, it's gonna resist a little bit when you fold it. So that's where the band comes in, but after a while it's gonna be a lot better and it won't resist anymore. So I'll show you the band effect as well, but don't worry if it's a bit weird and keeps wanting to open up. So after you keep using it for a bit, it's gonna be really nice and it won't do that anymore. So just give it some time and then it will act exactly as you want it to. As I said, here is the effect that is kinda acting weird, but yeah, after a couple of weeks it's gonna be perfect and a lot flatter than now. Anyway, this is our bag, what we have, so I hope you guys like the way it looks. Feel free to let me know in the comment section what you think. So I think it's a pretty simple project, even for complete beginners. The only thing you pretty much need to do are the 2 stitches on the sides. So it's super pretty and super easy, as you could see yourself in the last couple of minutes. So I think this is great for practice, especially if you haven't had the chance to work with felt, and especially because this type of felt is a little bit thicker than the other types. So yeah, it's a great last minute idea as well, but you gotta know the size of the laptop the person you're making it for. All in all, it makes it highly customizable, super easy to do. You can really make it your own and unique. You can do other fabric, you can do regular cotton, definitely doable. Even if it's a little bit thinner fabric, you can do it that way, but in that case, I'd use an outside fabric as well as an inside fabric. And it's best if you can fill it or stuff it with any other a little bit sturdier fabric that's gonna make it a little bit thicker. So also something you can iron over so that it keeps its shape and form. If it's just fabric and is super soft and thin, it works, but then your laptop isn't really protected, and that's actually key in this project. So that's what we want from our laptop bags. So that's why I recommended felt in the first place. It's super thick and therefore protects your laptop super nicely. So if you do end up wanting to use cotton in the end, you can do this pretty side on pretty side. So put it like that, then you can just stitch all around and turn, close the opening that you left, and you get the same effect that we just did with the felt, the thickness and the safety as well. And yeah, just a few more steps, but still pretty much the same deal, but with your own cotton instead of felt. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to shoot us a thumbs up, and if you would like to stay updated for future projects, you can also subscribe and that way stay notified. And I hope you guys like the project. Feel free to post any comments you might have in the comment section below. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in our next project. Until then, have a wonderful day. Bye!